We're not trying to be, rebellious or fighting anything. We're just trying to follow the Lord and follow His word and just be available, be open. We know too that there's a lot of hurts and needs out there, and we're just desiring to be open and seek to minister. There's been a lot of reports saying you don't care, you're open, but the reason we stay open is because we do care, and we want to be able to care for those that are in need, that are hurting, or going through difficult times through this.
Drea, Humphrey here with Rebel News, and last week I was here in Langley, BC, right in front of this church behind me called Riverside Calvary Chapel. Now that is where one of perhaps the lowest moments in Canadian history occurred. This church received a $2,300 fine for offering to open their house of worship and religious teachings despite BC's public health officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry's decision to ban all religious gatherings in BC. But you guys won't believe this, or maybe you will if you already feel that the government has been overreaching with some of their COVID-19 restrictions a few days after that report from last Sunday, which you can find the full report at rebelnews.com. I came across a large gathering inside of a church right here in the same city that is Langley, BC, that is completely okay with public health. Apparently, you can't go practice your freedom of religious expression in a church in BC, but if you're in the film industry, you can fill a church up because I guess watching a movie or a TV show is far more essential than freedom of religion here. Take a look. Yeah, you know what that is? It's a church behind me and it's packed. You know what it's packed with? The movie industry or the film industry. They got tons of trailers in the back. They've got tons of crew parking over there. This is a gathering inside of the church that is deemed legal by Dr. Bonnie Henry in British Columbia. But no, don't be like Riverside Calvary Chapel. Social distance, space it out, have maybe 25 people, I don't know, maximum 30 per spaced out services, and you're going to receive a $2,300 fine because Dr. Bonnie Henry. But if you want to film a movie pretending you live in a country where you're free to gather for your religious purposes, then you can pretend to do that in the movie industry, but you can't do it for real. Now, it is true that the film industry does use a lot of COVID-19 prevention measures, including frequent COVID-19 testing, and it's great to see people working. But were places of worship in BC even given the opportunity to see if the measures that they had been taking were enough to allow them to stay open? After all, the church behind me has been linked to 0 COVID-19 cases, and malls and Costco's are packed right now with the Christmas rush. Well, nevertheless, Riverside Calvary Worship has opened their doors again this week for 3 services, which I imagine helps with more spacing of the congregants who feel they need to attend to be spiritually fed. CBC and CTV were here as well at the beginning of the first service. They did not enter the church, but filmed outside and interviewed some of the local freedom activists who have arrived to support the right for this church and others to be viewed as essential. Now, we will have to see how CBC and CTV actually frame what happens here today, but rest assured, we at Rebel News will let you see for yourself what took place, and we will also speak directly to Pastor Brent and some of the church staff to see what the last week has been like since they've taken this stand for religious freedoms. Tell us about the bylaw officers. They were here in the morning when we arrived. Had they already spoken to you guys today, or?
No, they showed up for the first service at around 8:30, and they didn't talk to anyone from my knowledge, and then they left just before the second service started.
Wow, so already quite the difference between last week and this week. And speaking of last week versus this week, what has it been like for the church since you guys took a stand for the right to practice your religion?
Right, yeah. So I see a lot of that behind the scenes. I'm checking like the emails and taking phone calls, and it's been quite encouraging for the most part. We have a lot of supporters and people standing behind us. And then, of course, we have received a lot of like negative responses, but I can definitely say the positive outweighs the negative, which has been encouraging. So yeah, we're just trying to handle that appropriately and getting back to people as we can. And it's been a hard and tough week, but it's also been, great to just see how many people really are behind us.
It's not been fun. It's been a hard week with just a lot of feedback, but with all the negativity, we've had so much support and love and thanks and prayers, and so we've been super blessed. Thank you, everybody that's been praying for us. It's just been wonderful to see, and we're just again, like we've been doing from day one, just seeking to follow the Lord, be led of Him in all these things, and just all for His glory.
Right. And so you're open again. The fine didn't stop you. And I see that there has been a letter, like pastors have gotten together and doing a letter for Dr. Bonnie Henry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So a number of churches have just decided to come together and put together a letter just to let them know, all of our health officials, that, imploring them to overturn just the order that was out and just allow churches to be open. And that if that wasn't overturned, they just want to let them know that they were planning to begin to open their churches. And so a number of them are going to be starting to do that next week. And so we're just praying for, again, just a great unity happening here among the churches.
And I see that you guys are keeping up, just like last week, and I'm told you guys were always doing this. You're keeping up with COVID-19 safety measures. You've got the hand sanitizer out, cleaning the doors, socially distanced seating, and I saw that you're also kind of tracking who's coming in. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course. We've always been doing registration, like from the start. We still want to maintain control over the amount of people who are coming in our building. We want to respect as much as we can. We just want to keep everyone safe. But we do feel if we go into Costco or Walmart, it's the same kind of idea, except I believe from my perspective, we're doing things very safely, and that people have the freedom to come here and worship, and it's been awesome. So.
Yeah, you mentioned Costco, Walmart, dollar stores. All those things are pretty packed here with Christmas season. But you know what? A few days ago, I actually came across a church that was packed. And it was an okay gathering that wasn't banned. And it was a film crew inside of a church in Langley, BC. So they were packed to the max. And so what are your thoughts on that? That's okay. You can kind of pretend to have a religious service, but not a real one.
Yeah, it's interesting. There is a lot of confusion, deceivement out there, and I think we just need to walk in wisdom and discern these things. I definitely don't think that is fair, but yeah, I think these rules need to be evaluated again, and just hopefully people can understand that. I know that people, there's many people who don't agree with what we're doing, but yeah, I definitely encourage people to look at that and just try and discern for themselves. Is that really fair? And yeah, it's hard to hear, but it is the reality of right now.
It's a little ridiculous that you can pretend to have it, but if we want to come here and actually worship the living God, then we're the bad guys now, especially when they're packed to the max, and we take the extra steps to count every single person that comes in. We have an overflow area, so if a couple extra stragglers show up, and we send them there, separate building, so it's all very regulated to what an efficient amount of regulations would be, while still keeping our rights.
That's the frustrating thing with it all. It's just a lot of the inconsistencies that we've seen in that the churches, have been targeted. And so, we're not trying to be, rebellious or fighting anything. We're just trying to follow the Lord and follow His word, and just be available, be open. We know too that there's a lot of hurts and needs out there, and we're just desiring to be open and seek to minister. There's been a lot of reports saying you don't care, you're open, but the reason we stayed open is because we do care, and we want to be able to care for those that are in need, that are hurting, or going through difficult times through this. And it's been hard for everybody, we understand, and even our health officials, we know they're in a tough spot, and so we're praying for them, and we're just desiring God's best through all of this.
And I think it's important to point out that you guys are offering online church services, correct? But for some people, they express their religion in different ways. So you're opening that. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but is that right?
Yeah, we absolutely. We've offered online, which we have for a long time. We've actually encouraged a lot of people just, be home, watch online. We've encouraged that, but we just let people know we're not going to turn anybody away here as well. And so that's kind of been our heart in this.
Well, the second service has come and gone. Bylaw has not returned, and the police have been nowhere in sight this Sunday. I really hope that they're using their discretion just like the RCMP is doing in Chilliwack, and I really respect them if that is the case. But so far, it looks like there's been a bit of a victory for freedom of religion. Now, we know that these fines are showing up all over Canada. And we want to team up with you guys. If you want churches to be essential or freedom of religion to be essential, please head to fightthefines.com. Rebel News has hired an assembly of lawyers to take on the fight of fighting the church's fines, and one is dedicated right to the Lower Mainland. That's going to be dedicated to any of the churches that feel led to open during these really trying times on family, on communities. If they feel led to open, please know we've got your back. We're going to help you fight those fines. You can go to fightthefines.com or you can reach out to me. We've got your back, but you can also donate there if you just want to be part of helping the legal team do their job to hopefully get the church open. Maybe you guys made a big difference. The Chilliwack police, they came out and they made a statement saying that they're not going to fine religious services. And today, so far, second service is over and we haven't seen the police and the bylaw already left. So what's your take on that?
I thank you. I haven't actually heard what's been going on outside. We've been just kind of busy inside, and so I haven't heard what's been happening outside. So I'm excited to hear that there's been no police showing up, and we're praying for all of our law enforcement, and I know they're in a tough spot too, and we know that a lot of them are just having to do their job, but we pray that they will kind of see things a little bit differently too, and so we're just praying for them. We support them in whatever they have to do, but we're thankful that they haven't been here, so we hope that continues. Yeah,
I do know a church in, I think, Burnaby. They actually filed a complaint to the Langley RCMP about fining us, and so I hope and I pray that our police officers will come to that agreement as well, that they won't, fine us. But so far this Sunday has been clear from that. So maybe that is the route that they're taking, and that's awesome if they are.
I hope so too. And what do you have to say when people say, oh, well, the church should not be involved with the state? This is a very common thing that we hear.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And though we're not trying to meddle into those waters, we're seeing that, Jesus is the head of the church, and we're simply seeking to follow him. And it's at times when the government gets in the way that and conflicts with that we're just saying we just are looking to follow the Lord. And I know people have different views and opinions on that, but that's our desire. We're not trying to wade into the waters of politics at all. We're just simply looking to honor and elevate Jesus and just continue to worship him as the head of the church here. And that's been our heart in that. That's been our desire. So we're just letting him lead through all that. And however he desires to carry out his work in it, so be it.
Well, what a difference a week can make. The third service is almost over. No fines have been issued. No police have been present. I guess they don't want to struggle with their loyalty to uphold the Constitution and wasting valuable time finding this church when they could be out working on protecting us from actual criminals. Looks like God heard the church's prayer this week. But if you are a church who is ready to open your doors, please head to fightthefines.com so we at Rebel News can help relieve the stress on having to fight the fines that you may receive and allowing you to focus on being there for your community in these trying times. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. Now, we have already been getting started on fulfilling our commitments to help fight the fines of 1,000 Canadians, not just churches, but for Canadians who are receiving tyrannical fines for things like attending protests or not wearing masks when they are medically exempt from doing so. You can help support this commitment that we've made by donating towards our legal team at fightthefines.com. We appreciate your support.